Okay, we're live, Merc. Welcome everyone to Sorting Myself Out. And I'm going to pull up the chat here, make sure that we've got everything working. I think I finally got the OBS audio to work. Try talking.
Am I coming through?
It's working on my end. Everything looks good. I really hope that if you can hear Mercury and I both, please write in the comments, because I have been trying to figure this out for a while, how to link the Zoom account with OBS. And just so everyone knows, right now I haven't renewed my Zoom subscription payment, so Zoom might kick us off this call because it only allows free conversations to go on for so long. But we're not going to be on very long in any case. Let's see if I can pull up the chat here. So, Merc, how you doing? Good job on your stream last night.
Thanks. Yeah, and I'm doing about the same as last night. Extremely depressed, but also making space for... I'm contently depressed, and yeah, I've got space for positive experience as well.
Conversations to go on. Well, yeah, you've been... Oh, everybody can hear us both.
Congratulations, you figured it out.
This is amazing. And like I just said, what's going on, everybody? Bruce, good to see you. Southern Gamer, what's going on? Andrew, I see you there. So I don't know how long this is going to work. I still haven't paid for my new Zoom subscription, so we're going to just talk for a minute. We just wanted to wrap things up for 2019. I'm not going to have time to do any more videos, I don't think, between now and the new year. There just might be a spontaneous couple videos that I have time to edit, but no promises. It might be several weeks before I am able to do another one. So we wanted to just have a meaningful chat and finally get us both here on the channel at the same time. It's been too long. But let's reflect. How did we do this year? How do you think we did on the channel, Merc?
I think we did pretty good, and it's funny to look back on it because a year ago we weren't even thinking about doing the channel. If I remember right, Andrew asked us to take it over in February. So last year, like if I think back to New Year's Eve, we weren't even talking about doing this.
I know.
It's something that just came out of nowhere this year. And yeah, looking back on it, I'm surprised it went as well as it did, actually.
Yeah, we went through very many phases this year. Sam, what's up? I didn't give you a shout out. Shout out to Sam. I think I shouted out everyone in the chat now.
Yeah, and hi to everyone watching. I don't see the chat, but thanks for joining us.
Southern Gamer says, I don't know who either of you are, but I'm smiling and surprisingly having fun. Well, I'm glad to hear it. That's awesome. Yeah, I think we did really good on the channel this year for a couple of noobs with little experience on YouTube, and I think that we went through a lot of different phases. I mean, you watched me chase my tail like a dog with different ideas and different phases. At one point, I was doing 3 live streams a week. At other points, I was doing interviews more. At other points, I was doing analysis. At one point, I went after Gabor Mate in one video, and I regretted it immediately because I didn't do enough research, and I was not operating where I wanted to be as far as my own intellectual integrity. So yeah, we've been through a lot.
Yeah,
we did lots of streams.
At that. Yeah, also thinking of those couple times, all the stuff you would take on and then getting overwhelmed, like right before filming with Ken Wilber.
Oh, the filming with Ken Wilber, that was a big deal, man. I was in heaven that day at Ken's penthouse when we were filming, but it was so stressful getting up to that point. And I just had another discussion with Tim Freak yesterday. We did interviews with Tim. You had a discussion with Tim. We did a discussion with Andrew about lucid dreaming on the channel. We put out a lot of videos, man, when you really look at it. I mean, I think I did I must have done 100 live streams.
Yeah.
I must have. Because we were pumping out, and it really slowed down over the last few months when I, because I got so caught up in my graduate studies and work. And where do we go from here? I mean, we have so many options now.
I don't know. And the same as like you had all those little different phases. I've got my sort of yearly phase.
Streams.
And for me, in a lot of ways, I treat a year like a day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm entering just sort of the death phase, the night.
Mm.
And I don't know who I'm going to be next year. Um, like even with you, you're very different than you were last year, but I've got a really nice clean cycle of rebirth. So I don't know what I'm going to be next spring. The same way as a year ago at this time, I had no idea any of this was coming.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of taking the time right now the way you do late at night, when you just stop planning, when it's tomorrow will work itself out and it's just time to sort of rest and see what's going to come next. But no, I don't really have any particular goals or predictions or anything about it. I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. I mean, we've both changed over the last year in different ways. Life's changed. You know, my life is dramatically different than just the way that I feel about what I'm doing and where my focus is. I was sharing with you and Andrew and Grizz last night on our phone call. Was it last night? I think it was last night.
Yeah.
You know, I was sharing with you guys. It's like when we started this channel, I thought it was going to be like reality vlogging. Like that's kind of what I was. And then the more that I did it, not that I don't like vlogging. I still make vlogs. I still enjoy making vlogs. But the more I did it, the more I realized, no, I have deeply serious philosophical, psychological, and intellectual aspirations that I want to pursue. And so you saw me. I told you, I remember one week I was at Mercury. I need to establish a reading routine for a minimum of 2 hours every morning, period. Like, I can't waffle on this shit. And that's when things really started changing over the summer, I think. Because now it's like I got hooked. It was like the first few weeks, it was just getting, first thing in the morning, read 2 hours, just getting in the routine. And I would text you and be like, I did it. And then you'd be like, good job. Or I would text you and be like, something came up. I only did an hour and a half. But for the most part, I hit it every time. There may be a couple of mistakes. Yeah, you saw it. I hit it almost every time. And then I got hooked on reading, dude. It's like, and it was like not only now, like I'm finishing all the assigned readings for class and even some of the extra readings. I'm going out and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta read Heidegger, I gotta read Kant, I gotta read the history of philosophy, I gotta understand the history of psychology. And then I just got like addicted to reading. And then so I started making less videos. And obviously I have to work too, you know, I gotta make money. So between that, making some cash when I can, working, you know, for different organizations and things like that, it was just like my whole life changed. And now I'm at this new place, and I'm realizing, hey Nolan, good to see you, brother. I'm realizing that I really want to make videos like I have been. Like I want to do philosophical and psychological analysis. I want to do interviews, but I want it to be supported by all these things that I'm learning and developing in my graduate studies. And eventually, once I write my PhD dissertation, I want to share that process with you guys and what kind of philosophy and psychology am I interested in? What am I developing? What am I contributing to the field? That's what I'm excited about now. So, I mean, you've watched me. What do you think? What are your thoughts on all that?
I think the progression that you've made and the direction you're going suits you very well. Like, I think you've found a groove, a life path that is very, very, very positive for you. I think you're well suited to the life that you're living at the moment. And unless you go through some sort of change and redirect, you know, even Peterson says you set a goal and sometimes as you move towards it, you redirect. Unless you choose to redirect for some reason, I think you're going to have no problem following through on this. And I think your pursuits outside of the channel and your participation in the channel form a good feedback loop with each other. It seems to me that doing the channel adds some fire to your ambitions with everything you're doing aside, your studies, and everything you learn in your studies is going to feed back positively to whatever you end up contributing to in the channel in the future. And yeah, I think the kind of content you're looking to do is in the short term is fantastic, but I'm also not going to hold you to that, and I'm open to you going through again various phases and wanting to experiment with different things.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I should just tell everyone how helpful you were with what's up, Grizz. You were so helpful in establishing that deepened reading routine. It wasn't, because before I was doing my school readings, and I was getting A's and doing the business, but it wasn't up to my own standards of intellect and learning. Like I wanted to crank it up a notch because I realized I don't want to look back on my graduate school and be like, damn, I wish I would have applied myself and took advantage of these formative years to learn and grow. So I really have to thank you, Mercury. Thank you for being there for me every day while I establish that routine. Now it's been, what has it been, like 4 months? 5 months of that new routine?
Yeah, probably something like that. And how long has it been now since we stopped doing the daily follow-ups? It's been over a month, hasn't it?
Yeah, because eventually, now that I just do it, I don't need to text you that I did it.
Yeah, so I think we did it for about 2 or 3 months, and then since then it's been a month or two that you've kept it up. And yeah, like, you're very welcome, and I was really glad to do it. Sometimes it just helps to have someone else you talk to about your goals. It helps you sort it out in your head, but also there's parts of our psyche that care about social responsibility.
Yeah.
And by discussing a goal with somebody and then having the feedback, like having to tell them about it, can activate that part of the psyche, and you get a bit more momentum towards what you're trying to do, because the part of your brain that cares knows that you're aware, or you're responsible to tell someone about whether you follow through.
But here's where it got really interesting, because and those of you who have heard me talk about sub-personalities will understand this. Once I got that established routine, my compulsive, addictive side not only did the 2 hours, but then was like, well, why don't we read 3 or 4 or 5 hours and just really just read all the time? And so it's just so funny how anything, to me, my personality type, it's like anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And there I go. And it's like, that's the same reason why I got addicted to drugs and alcohol when I was younger. It's like the same energy. I get so obsessed with things.
Yeah, and at times you got that with the channel as well. Like when all of a sudden you'd be wanting to stream 3 days a week and work on videos in between.
Exactly.
You can look at the entire addictive part of yourself. That's a dangerous gift, as opposed to being something that's just bad. It's a dangerous gift if it's directed towards the wrong behavior. If it's directed towards drugs, or I don't know what else would be bad, but perhaps gambling wouldn't suit you well, or other things.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
directed towards that destructive. But if you apply it to a goal that's actually good for you and good for the world, it becomes a strength. It's a tool that, if you just point it in the right direction and give it the right thing to do,
exactly,
can allow you to achieve things that people without that addictive nature wouldn't be able to do in the same way.
Yes, and I'm gonna read your comments in just a minute here. I see you all, and I'm enjoying reading these. Yeah, absolutely, Merc. And I gotta thank my 12-step groups for helping me get sober. Now 9 years, or is it 10 years? No, it's 9.5 years. I gotta thank Dr. Strachan, for teaching me that your subpersonalities, your personality is, you can employ it to focus on things that you want rather than just working against you. So you can take that compulsive side and put it towards energy that would be beneficial to you. You don't have to be a victim to yourself. You can learn how to work with who you are rather than always swimming upstream. And I gotta thank all of you on the channel for putting up with our inconsistent nonsense. Because, my God, it's like, who's Ryan Holzapfel going to decide to be tomorrow, right? Like, you've watched this channel, just, what is this channel? What the hell are we doing? Andrew said, the channel, sometimes it's like, you look at the videos, and it's like the channel doesn't really know what it is. But that's a good reflection of my personality. It's just, I have so many interests and so many different cycles that I go through. But yes, Andrew says in the... Hey, Daniel, good to see you. Andrew says, Ryan, you're motivating me to read more. Good, I'm glad, man. I hope you do read more. It's awesome, man, because it's amazing how what reading a couple hours a day can, forget a couple hours. I mean, like that's an unreasonable thing to ask for most people, but for me, I'm lucky enough that I can do that. But just reading every day, it helps us expand on our own ideas. It helps us grow and figure out what we believe versus what we don't believe. It helps us to, I think you can actually, for me, in my experience, I can feel my prefrontal cortex start to throb after a while. Like it's almost like you're watering your brain, as stupid and primitive as that sounds. You're giving your brain nutrients. I love it. And I also find that it helps me in my ability to speak and think clearly. What do you think, Merc? Do you find that with reading that gives you an intellectual edge?
Yeah, absolutely. And not even just the kind of reading you're doing, because you're doing a lot of studying in nonfiction. Reading anything is good for you, I think. And fiction expands the richness of the imagination. And that even reading about shit that's total nonsense. Well, like last night, I read a bit from The Never-Ending Story, but that it's really powerful for expanding the depth of your intellectual experience. Just reading anything, fiction or nonfiction.
Oh, I love fiction, man. I mean, that's what got me into reading when I was a kid. It was fiction. Let's read a few more comments here. Dusted says, Kant, that's a boring read, lol. Yeah, a lot of these philosophers, especially the continental philosophers, are very difficult to crack. And I've been finding with Heidegger, especially, there is a challenging read. And then you say later, what about the philosophy interests you? Well, what I realized, because I'm a psychology student, and I would consider myself a developing psychologist. I've gone through a training process that I feel like I'm at least psychologically savvy enough to say that. But from that perspective, I realized that, psychology grew out of philosophy. I mean, it didn't just come out of nowhere. I mean, thousands of years of philosophy led to this thing we call psychology. It didn't just come out of an island or a vacuum. So, in some ways, the more I've been reading, Jung and James Hillman and these philosophers and dabbling in the history of philosophy, what I've been learning is, in some sense, there's nothing new under the sun. And I don't think that's literally true, but I think it's mostly accurate. Like, every idea, like if you just hear people having normal conversations about life, about what they think, what they believe, you can trace it to some philosopher and where that idea took seed and grew. I mean, it's amazing how the way we think is rooted in these different traditions. And, like, for example, Peterson talks about the cultural Marxists. I mean, most of these people never read the French intellectuals that established the postmodern beliefs, but somehow those ideas are in them somehow. They seeped into the psyche somehow. So I think that part of the reason I like going back and reading these texts is it's like, oh, these ideas that we're talking about in modern times, it's almost like we're rehashing these ancient dialectical processes. And of course there's new things occasionally that haven't been really explored, but I think that's kind of rare. What do you think, Merc?
Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun's one of those things that to take that phrase in a certain way, it's like Alan Watts says, sometimes to make a point you have to exaggerate. So I don't think that's technically true.
No, it's not. No way.
We come up with new things every so often. I do think we push the level of development, but it's very rare, and the new things are always building on what's before. Nothing's coming out of nowhere anymore. Like other than the Big Bang was that big bunch of out of nothing. But since then, everything's building on what came before. So, but I do think we also do push new frontiers at certain points.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me to say that it's fallacious because obviously look at the progress in science and technology and different areas. So, but to some extent, there's this repetition of conversations that have already happened, and that's pervasive. I see that everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's the vast majority. Something new is fairly rare.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But also, what does it really matter? It's when something's new to you, that's when it's new. And it doesn't matter how many billions of people have realized something before. When you realize it, it's new, and it still has... So, it doesn't matter how many people have seen The Matrix. If when you watch the movie The Matrix, that gives you a moment of realizing just how fundamentally we may have no idea what our experiences truly are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as awe-inspiring to the billionth person who's had that experience as it was to the first. So at one point, there was a first audience member who had that kind of experience, new under the sun. But it's just as profound for the billionth person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it also reminds me of Jung's idea of the archetypes, because Peterson often quotes Jung, people don't have ideas, ideas have people. Well, that's an archetypal idea. That's an archetypal notion. And what grabs me... Just think about this for a second. For example, if you take my position on genetics, the nature of our personality, that to some extent is an autonomous psychic complex that has been going on for people for thousands of years. Nature versus nurture. That conversation is so... But every time I talk about it, about how powerful... I'm not against nurture by any means. I believe the environment really matters. But I love exploring the nature side of it. And every time I talk about it with such passion. Like it's the first time. It's like, oh my God, like amazing how the genes mutate and change and the brain development happens and how that plays into our experience. It's incredible.
I gotta go. My kids are getting dropped.
No! Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize... it had gotten quite this late. So shit.
Well, I'll just finish my point to the audience, but say what you want to say.
The audience, and so I'll just say to everyone, in case we're not on again this year, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thanks for participating, everyone who has in whatever way. Thanks to Andrew for starting it. And so just Merry Christmas and lunatic love to everyone.
Oh man, I'm bummed you have to go. We were just getting started. I love you, man. Say hi to your kids.
All right. Well, maybe this won't be goodbye. Maybe we'll do it again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, I'll just finish my point briefly. Man, I'm bummed that he's gone. I wish he would have had more time to talk. I took up all the airtime. Anyways, okay. So then you look at that and it's like, that's the archetype, the idea. That's the idea that has me, that nature idea. But then you look at like John Locke or Blank Slate, or you look at people who believe environmental conditioning is the creme de la creme of life, and they probably feel that similar passion. So I think to see the difference between what Jung would call as being conscious and unconscious is noticing the complex that you're in, noticing the idea that has you, noticing what's gripping you, what's pushing you, then you have, see, as soon as you're aware, oh my God, something's grabbing me inside of me. Something is like I'm compelled toward this. Then that's becoming conscious. That's becoming aware. That's having a sense of agency that you can somehow interact with that in a mindful way. So it's no longer that the idea just has you, like you're in the grip of this ideological possession, but you're aware of the strength of that autonomous complex, and you can choose to interact with it in a way that approximates truth somehow. And that I think is the goal, is that we're not driven by these impulses without being aware of them, but we see them, we evaluate them, we understand what they're saying, and then we see, okay, is this something I want to continue to align with, or do I need to change my tune? You have a nice mic. Why does it sound like this? What does it sound like? Does it sound bad? Oh. Is that better? Sorry, I had it on surround sound, I think, on accident. Tell me if that's better. I'm going to read some of your comments. Okay, what about philosophy interests you? Did I answer that question? Oh, I did. Longstone says, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. I've been totally described like that. I'm glad you can relate. Daniel, you need to watch The Never-Ending Story. I do need to watch it. You've been asking me to do that for months. And, yeah, thank you for reminding me again. And then someone says, Spartacus says, did you ever get the chance to check out Christopher Langan's cognitive theoretic model of the universe? By God, I have not. Thanks for letting me know about that. I think you did ask me about that in a stream before. Okay. I've got it in my browser. Thank you. All right. Boy Meets World. It's really good to see you, man. It's been a while. I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope you're doing well. And a brain needs a sword and a brain needs books like a sword needs whetstone. Grizz says that's a good one. Longstone says, if anyone is looking for fiction to read, I'd recommend Section by Roman McClay. Dust says the never-ending story sounded pretty deep. Boy Meets Wort said, great vids lately. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Bruce says Merry Christmas, saying goodbye to Merc. Okay, better. Getting closer is better. Okay. Yeah, and the OBS, I'm really been trying to figure out the audio on OBS, and for the first time today, I was able to get Merc and myself both on with audio without having this weird echo thing where it's coming all through my speakers. So we've made progress. So I'm very happy about that, and Grizz has been waiting for that for a while, so thank you for the continued encouragement. But seriously, everyone, happy holidays. I wanted to get this video out to you because I most likely won't have time to post too much for the next while, 3-4 weeks probably. I'm not sure. I don't have an exact timeline. I've got a couple of research papers to write, and then the holiday madness, of course, I'll be traveling and things like that. So I just really wanted to say, great year. Thank you so much for supporting us on this channel. You have all been great, and it's been a real honor to be able to continue to make content for you. Oh, I have an echo in my corner. What? This is this a typical echo? Because I haven't heard that before. Is this something that's happening just now? Thanks for letting me know, Dust to Dust. So, yeah, great year. Really enjoyed making content for you all. Andrew, thank you very much for handing over the channel when you decided that you wanted to do other things. It's been really a blessing to be able to interact with this community and get to know each of you, and I hope that you all enjoy your holiday time. I want to give you a few pieces of reflection on the way out here for the holidays, because it can be a hard time. I mean, I think for a lot of people, the holidays is a time of stress and a time of grief and sometimes depression or high anxiety. And I think that because of that, we can really beat ourselves up too, because we're supposed to be having fun. We're supposed to be having a good time. We're supposed to, and some of us might have a fantastic time. This isn't a universal idea, but that can really be hard for people. Especially, it's a time of reflection of your life, and family conflicts often come up. I mean, my family has had some pretty crazy arguments during the holidays, and we've continued to work on that and try to be mindful of that and continue to support each other and not get emotionally hijacked. But I just want to put out there that just be gentle with yourself. Obviously hold yourself accountable. If you're someone who's prone to family arguments and leaving fat turds in the punch bowl and things like that, but also to understand that this is a time of year for a lot of people that is difficult. So if you're one of those people, have some self-understanding. And for me, at least, what I'm going to try to work on is I don't have to be right. Okay, so I don't have to. I'd rather have my family than be right about something or prove my point in an argument. So letting go of self-righteousness, that's number one I got to work on. Letting go of control. Just, okay, it's good. Like letting life take the driver's seat and just be along for the ride for a week during for me at least, that's when our family will be together for Christmas time. And for those of you who find yourself alone or wishing that you had a family to be with, also my heart goes out to you, and I just share with you my love and support, and wishing you a happy holiday as well. And yeah, just, again, accountability, patience, let go of control. That's what I'm going to work on. Last year I did pretty well until the day after Christmas, and then I got in a fight with my sister. And I remembered before I came up with this important idea, let go of being right. That was before I went there to spend the holidays with him. And lo and behold, the day after Christmas, I couldn't let go of being right anymore. I managed for several days, and then being right won. so that's something I'm gonna see if I can go the whole time without needing to be right, and just be graceful and get along with people, and yeah, see what happens. All right, everybody. And I will see you in a few weeks. Maybe I might put up a podcast. There's a potential that I might pop a podcast up, a pre-recorded one with Tim Freak. I'm not sure yet, but anyway, don't expect any content. And join our Discord server. Can we get that link in the chat? So that's a place where we can all talk, and I'll be in and out of there, and I think that'll be good. Let's see if I can get a link to share with you all for Discord. Invite people. Okay, copy. It expires in 1 day, so there you go. Discord link. Join our server, and we can talk about stuff. All right, everyone. Happy holidays. Love you all. See ya.